Hi everyone, Nishka here from CrystalBeads.com with another fun beading video for you. Before I get started, quick reminder, check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always know when we're posting new content. Today's project is this absolutely lovely candy heart earrings. So it's that time of year, and I've been inspired by all of the beautiful, beautiful heart-shaped things going on, and I wanted to make my own variation on it. So I'm using gorgeous Preciosa Crystal Bicones, as well as a couple other beads here, and beading around a beautiful gold heart shape. So I'm going to show you exactly how that's done and how you can make a pair of these yourself. Let me show you what we're going to need to make this beautiful project, and we'll get started. All right, so for today's project, you are going to need a pair of heart-shaped frame links. You are going to need some 11-0 seed beads. I'm going with a Toho. These are round, and I've chosen a very nice medium transparent red color. I think that'll go really nicely with this heart theme we're doing today. I've also chosen a medium pink, a little bit lighter, and a matte finished and opaque size 8-0 seed bead. This one is also round and it's also Toho. And again, you can choose whichever brand you prefer or whichever colors you like. Finally, you are going to need some bicones. This is a Preciosa Crystal Bicone, and this is in 4mm. And I've chosen a really deep velvety red. So we've got kind of the gamut of Valentine's colors here, from the deep, deep red, nice, pretty pink, and a medium classic red to really bring this project to life. We're also going to need some fireline. I'm using 4-pound fireline in crystal so that it disappears into the project and you don't have to see all of those ugly pieces of thread. I'm using a size 12 beading needle, and I'm also got some thread snips handy for cutting my fireline. If you're going to be adding a jump ring onto this, you are going to definitely also want some chain nose pliers, possibly 2 of them, to open and close your jump rings. And I don't have them here, but you are also going to want a pair of fishhook ear wires so that you can turn your very pretty beaded heart design into a pair of earrings, which I'll also show you how to do at the end of the project. So I'm going to clear all of this away, and we are going to get started with the first part of the project. All right, so I've threaded about a wingspan of fireline onto my needle, and I'm going to pick up a 11-0 seed bead to get started. There's a couple of different ways that you can bead around a frame. This is the way that I think is easiest to demo, but there are a couple of different options. You can actually start with 2 beads at a time. I'm going to just start with the 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my frame and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to bring the needle through the frame, and I'm going to just grab that bead as it comes to the frame. I'm going to hold the frame and the bead together as I pull my needle and thread, and leave off a nice little tail. So as you can see, the thread is behind the frame. It's going through the bead behind the frame. My needle and the rest of the thread I've pulled through the frame. So now I'm just going to go back up through that bead, and you want to keep holding it. I just wanted to show you for video purposes, demonstration purposes. So now you're going to go back up that bead, and what you've done is created this little loop. The bead is attached to your frame. Now, if you keep pulling, it's going to the tail is going to come off. So you want to keep holding on here because it's not yet secure. It will start to become secure as you add on more beads. So you can even wrap this around your finger, tail. And it also doesn't matter where you start on the frame. We'll just keep going until we fill it up. So we're going to do the same again, pick up another bead, and again go behind the frame and through it with the needle. And you want to just hold that bead in place, as I'm doing here, while you pull your thread through. And now you're going to go back up that bead, just like you did before. And see, now you have 2 beads on your frame. And now you'll start to feel that you can't pull that thread through anymore. Just with the addition of that second bead, it has made it so that you're not ever going to accidentally pull the thread now. So you can let go of the little tail. You don't have to keep holding it. And let's do that again and again and again until we get all the way around. So I'm going to go one more time. Pick up the bead through the frame, pinch that bead, and then head back. And once you get into the rhythm of it, it's going to become very, very easy to do. You just do the same steps over and over. Pick up the bead through the frame and back up through the bead, and they're all going to sit nicely next to each other along the frame. So I'm going to do the rest of this. Keep going, and you want to fill it up all the way, and we'll meet back up at the end and I'll show you what we do next after that. Okay, so I've picked up my last bead. Here's where I'm at, and I'm going to do the same thing we have been doing all along. Go behind the frame and through, and I'm going to just go right back through, get that tail out of there, right back through the bead I just added, straight up, and there you have it. Isn't that cute? Actually, you can stop right here. If you're looking for something more minimal, this is adorable. So as you recall, we just added that last bead and we're coming out of that bead. Now what we need to do is we need to connect this bead to the one right next to it, which was our first bead added. So I'm going to go through that bead and down and through, just like before. So this first bead will end up with 2, like a double strand, which is why we're using this lighter colored fire line, because it's less noticeable on the gold. You see, if we had a darker one, it would be more visible. So now we're going on to our next layer. We are going to pick up our 8O beads. So I'm going to just take some of these out here, and we are going to do the same thing we did before. Pick up a bead. This time, instead of going around the frame, we are going through the stitch in between 2 red beads. So we're coming out here, and the next stitch in between is here. And we're going to go through there, pull our bead nice and tight, and then back up. So what's holding our bead in place is that it is secured to the stitch in between the two beads that it's sitting on top of. And we continue doing the same thing in the next row, the next bead. Go up. I think this pink color adds such a pretty element here. It really makes me think of those conversation hearts that you get around this time of year. It's got this like very pretty pastel-y and soft sort of matte finish that reminds me of those kind of chalky hearts. And it does have a little bit of a multicolor thing going on here. You'll see some of these beads a little more orange than pink, and that's the finish on it. And I think that adds a little bit of extra something to this color. Pretty. Yeah, it does give you this kind of like candy vibe, right? Each one's just a little bit different. So again, here we are. We're going to continue all the way around, and I will be back to show you what's next. And before we get to the end, I just want to add that you may find that going through every single stitch is going to cause crowding. So you may need to skip one stitch or two as you go around. As you see here, I'm already past this stitch. So I am going to actually skip one here and not try to cram another bead in here. And this has to do obviously with the difference in size between the 11 and the 8. But use your best judgment, and a little bit of crowding is okay, but try not to crowd them too much. You don't have to religiously stick to one new bead per stitch in between the first row of beads. Okay, so I'm coming out of that last bead I added, and now I just need to connect it to that first bead. We're going to go down that first bead, under that first stitch in between the two bottom row beads, and then back up that same bead. Okay, so here it is. What we're going to do next is add our crystals. So I'm just going to take a few, dump them out here, and we're going to do the exact same thing we've been doing. Pick up a crystal, find that thread, bridge between the two beads below, and head back up the crystal. And we're going to continue the same thing around. I actually used a little less thread than I should have. I did about half of a wingspan. So I'm going to actually add on some more thread as well, and then continue all the way around with the crystals. So I will be back at the end and I will show you the next step. Okay, so there I've added that last bicone and we are coming out of here. And I'm going to go back down that next bicone to connect. But I'm also going to actually travel to the center point of this heart because I want to emphasize the heart shape a little bit. So I am going to add some beads on the inside so that I can make it look even more heart-shaped. So you just want to find your way down there by weaving through the beads that are already in place and try not to let your thread show. So just follow a nice thread path through the beads. And what do I want to do? Let's go up here. You want to position yourself to be coming out. You want to be coming out like this. Okay, so we're bringing that bead to the frame, and we're going to go through that frame and then back up that bead. You want to get it as close as possible to that little edge. Then we're going to get another bead and do the same. And then this one we want to sit sort of on the other side of that point. So we'll go through and through here. And then back up that bead. And now we're going to add one more, and we're going to go through that stitch in the center, and then back up it. And we're creating a little triangle to emphasize the heart shape here. And you might need to position it a little bit for your liking. How cute is that? Okay, so I wove my thread from the tippy top here through some beads and got to this bicone that is in the very center of the heart. And this is where we'll make our beaded loop so that we can turn this into earrings. We are going to pick up 7 11-ohs, and we're going to head back down that bicone to make our beaded loop. All right, and in order to secure this, let's go through it multiple times. And now you know why we're using 4-pound fire line, so that we can get through multiple passes here. How cute! So I'm going to pass through a few more times, then I'm going to weave my thread out, and we'll finish this up with some ear wires. Okay, so our beaded loop is done. Our little heart is done. We have a jump ring that I've already opened, and we have our ear wire. You can add the ear wire directly onto the loop if you prefer that. I'm going to add the jump ring onto it and connect the two that way because I want a little bit more flowy movement. It adds an element of that. And we're just going to close that loop, wiggle it back and forth, and there you have it. Lovely, lovely Valentine ready jewelry for you. These gorgeous candy hearts are beautiful, they're sparkly, and they are going to definitely turn heads, but they're pretty easy to make, as you saw. Don't take too much time, and we have so many color options in all of these beads. For the 11-ohs, we have I'm going to say hundreds of colors to choose from. We also have lots of colors in the Ados, and of course the Preciosa Bicones add a beautiful sparkly element to it. You can switch these beads out, use other kinds of beads, and just use the same technique. We also have other shapes, not just hearts, so you can have a lot of fun beading around different shapes of links and connectors too, and make all sorts of very pretty earrings. So thank you so much for watching, and go ahead and leave us a comment if you have any questions, and we will be back with more really fun tutorials for you in the future. Thanks a lot. Bye.